Good morning, a snapshot here, morning brief. The morning brief video is coming up for those who see it. Longer than it should be, kind of dovetail with the special report I did over the weekend and last week's weekly update. But I thought I gave some good ideas explaining myself why I'm taking this approach of betting on a scenario, what if Trump gets elected, instead of just saying, let's wait and see if he's elected and see if it destroys the bullish scenario that is really still the best scenario. All right, it is October 28th. It's 8:51 a.m. East Time. Rich pause for critical point. On the level 4, the market is up overnight in the futures. Interest rates are starting to back off after they went higher. They proved the model right. I wanted higher interest rates this week. I got it already. Maybe it's already over and it backs off and the stock market's going to do better than I think. And the stock market could bounce in the next few days for a level 3 and might even bounce into the election, which seems strange to me, but it could do it. So the way I look at this level 4 is probably will not stop going up to around 1 p.m. Eastern time into tomorrow. Ideally, it stops going up today. Ideally, it ought to be back down the next day or two, and we're going to have a gap up probably in the cash market. So that would be a reason to sell it, I think, to pull it back in that gap. It may not. If interest rates want to go down all this week, then maybe they're just going to push the stock market higher and higher on me. Beyond the level 4s, even though I'm looking for a level 4 pullback today into tomorrow, and we could even start a level 3 top now, meaning the market pulls down now into next week, into the election for that larger level 3, that once a month sell signal, buy signal. It could do it now. Or I should say on this level 4 top that in theory is 1 p.m. and later. The problem is the level 3 could stay up until later this week for other level 4 tops and top out anytime now into next week, preferably this week, okay, and then it goes down. And that level 3, of course, would offer more downside, more time going down, and it doesn't have to bottom to maybe a little ahead of the election, at the time of the election, and even a few days after election, meaning the door is open to go lower after election, meaning it may go quite a bit lower because they don't like the election, okay? It may go lower regardless of who's elected anyways, just because that's how markets work. This stock market is doing its best to say it doesn't really give a damn about the election and wants to do something else, okay? The reason is the economy is so good. And I explained that in that longer update I've read about one of the best economists since 2012 who really doesn't think the economy is going to have any problems for quite a while, even if Trump's elected, all right? At any rate, that's the level 3 scenario. That we did get a level 3 bottom sooner than we thought, that lowest price in the last week or two. And we're looking for a top very, very soon and another pullback off the level 3. All right. So then we'll reevaluate after election whether they can put it up into December, because we may have made a mistake on this long-term bearish stance now. And I want you to understand it's only a minor long term. We can still have a bull market for this decade. It's just we could have problems on again, off again, or just flat out on for quite a while, especially with Trump getting elected. And we just don't know for sure. But until the market goes to a record high price, we want to give it a chance that we've started something bigger to the downside than what we really were hopeful for, okay? Now, if it goes to a record high price before the election, we're going to be somewhat wrong, but I'm personally not going to buy back into the market. I'm going to wait to after election, see the election, because there's a problem that it could still be down anyways, okay? Now, if it is higher after the election, even with Trump, I may have to be bullish into Thanksgiving to December, just like I've been talking for months now. And then I'm going to have to take another shot at the downside in December, January, Feb, just like I've talked for months now, even if Trump's there, and it can be even more bearish with Trump, all right? So the point is after January 1 is where I'll give up on this long-term bear call I just made. I may have to give up on it right after the election, only to do it yet again before the end of the year. there are many more indexes than what I realized that are setting up with almost this thing that snuck up on us. It's like the market has this secretive little pattern going on that it can top for long-term after all and be more bearish. I think what the market has been playing a game here is saying it'll prove this business cycle stuff still works. It was difficult at the time, but it went down by a huge amount because of Trump, and it was just difficult at the time, but it still works. And what I'm saying is, instead of waiting to see the evidence to get that bearish, I'm being more of a risk manager and money manager rather than an analyst, which is a little bit different for me for what I provide in this service. And I'm being rather aggressive here of saying I'm willing to call that minor long-term top after all and do it again and again into December. And then we'll start over later next year and see if we're wrong or not. All right. If you want to get aggressive before the election and buy, as long as you're willing to sell later, that's okay. All right. But I think there's just too many wild cards here to figure this all out. I don't like the way these interest rates are soaring higher. I don't like that move index that I gave you in the special report, that it just looks like they're really betting on higher interest rates. They're really scared. So I think, even though it's starting to back off this morning, I think there's a little more higher interest rates this week. They may back them off in the election. I'm nervous, what if interest rates are going higher towards Thanksgiving, which is allowed as well? That may cause some other problems. So I'm glad it's sold. What I'm saying is there could be far more important sell signals than what we made on October 21st. And we'll backpedal when it goes to a record high. We will reevaluate and make the appropriate adjustments to try to keep up with this market. Okay. Have a great day. And again, I think, it's up this morning. I got a feeling it's going to be down by tomorrow. I'd like to think it's going to be down right into next week for the election. They may put it up on us and do the opposite. And I don't see a record high coming. It may do that and still crash and burn. This could get really flaky. Any rate, right today anyways, yes, it's up. I'm not quite sure I want to believe in this strength, but if they lower the interest rates all day long, maybe it'll get a lot stronger than I think. But I just don't think this is a worthy buy right here, right now, ahead of this election. Thank you.